Parents, you are being urged to have the money talk with your children. April 17th is the annual Talk with Your Kids About Money Day, hosted by the Canadian Foundation for Economic Education. We are joined this morning by Foundation President Gary Rabbior. Gary, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
How important is it that we talk to our kids about money?
I think it's extremely important, and that's probably something we don't need to tell parents. I think I've been doing this job for many years, and if I had a nickel for every time that somebody said, I wish I'd had that when I was a kid, that's all anybody says. I think people realize over the course of their lives how much better their decision making could have been if they had been prepared earlier for the kinds of challenges they were going to face. And I think today, young people, it's a lot worse today than it was years ago, with all the influences, all the very strategic and researched influences to influence your decisions, help you make your decisions that might not be in your own best interest. We really have to empower our children at a young age to stay in control, make your own decisions. Don't get tempted to go beyond, as so many of us have, and therefore are living lives of stress and anxiety and feeling out of control that are manifesting themselves in unhappiness in so many people's lives. But I think parents really want their kids to have a different life.
Yeah, and a lot of it all comes back to money. Let's talk about what age you should start talking to your kids about money.
As young as you feel comfortable doing. On our website, talkwithourkidsaboutmoney.com, we have resources for parents starting at about age 5 and going all the way up to when kids leave home and go out on independent living. There are various points all along the way in which you can interact with your child about the kinds of things they're confronting, the kinds of decisions they're facing. And what we're finding is that parents are often reluctant because they think it's all about things you know. And it's not so much about things you know as about helping to guide your child in the way they act and the kinds of things they do. And when they're making a decision, are they considering the trade-offs that they're giving up?
Give me an example. Give me an example for a teenager, a 15 or 16-year-old, for example. What would be the lesson about money that you would teach that teenager?
One of the most important lessons for any kid, be they teenager or not, is that when you make a decision and there's so many forces telling you to buy this, do that. What's the trade-off you're making in terms of what you're giving up either today or in the future by what you're deciding now? If you make that one consideration at any point in your life, you're likely to make a better financial decision. But there's so many pressures on us to buy now, instant gratification. And also there's so many pressures on young people now, compounded by social media, where everybody's on talking about their great lives and whatever, and your child might be sitting there thinking, I'm not so great, I got to do this, I should be having that, these shoes, all those kinds of things. And you got to put your child in a position of staying in control of their own lives, what's important to them, because what we're finding is that down the road, when you lose control, it really is affecting people's health, happiness, mental state, whatever. And I think once we start talking to people, they all know people who are in those kinds of situations. And I think if we can do more to keep our kids in control of their lives, it'll be much better for them.
As you said earlier, it sure does seem like they have a lot more on their plate than we all did, even just my generation ago, some 20, 30 years ago when I was a teenager. It's changed a lot. Let's talk just briefly about your talk coming up and how parents can get involved in this.
Yeah, basically we started a program about 7 years ago called Talk with Our Kids About Money. And we picked a day because we wanted a small ask to get people, use it as a catalyst to get people started, because a lot of people are reluctant to do this. And so what we did is we partnered with Scotiabank. We created a website, free resources, all fun, easy to use, to help parents and teachers get started with those talks. And so you can go there and find things that are very easy to, a movie to watch, a trip to take locally, a book to read, things that are a catalyst for getting those kinds of discussions started. And once parents get started, it just takes off. The fires have been lit. We have had over 8,000 schools register to participate in the school program this year. Thousands of parents who, once they get started, feel good about what they're doing, and they realize that their kids want to learn about this. And it's very natural, and it's really good if you develop that relationship at a young age to be a sort of counselor to your child about money in a comfortable way, so that later on, when things get more serious, you're there for them, as opposed to trying to start that conversation with the first home buy and mom and dad, what about a mortgage? You're already in a comfort zone with your child in that respect.
You certainly want to start it long before they're looking for a down payment to that first house.
Very much so, and not only that, but for all the issues they will encounter along the way, to be there as a guide for them. And parents have been there, done that, and learned a lot, sometimes by mistakes, but those are the best lessons. Share those with your kids so they don't make them.
All right, well said, Gary. Thank you very much. Some very good and important information. April 17th, annual Talk with Our Kids About Money Day. It's certainly something we can all do, and like you said, at any age.